Look at that. That's you. Sid is his usual destructive self. Good morning, good morning. Hopefully you guys can hear me, see me, everything is good. I gotta put this kitty cat down. This is not good. There we go. All right. So today we're gonna talk about a little something different. However, let's make sure that the audio and video is good. Put this in here. Should be better. There we go. Hopefully everybody can hear me, see me. There we go. All right, so today we're going to talk about...
On?
Huh?
On?
Yeah. What do you need? This? Go ahead.
Oh, shit, sure. I need to take the thing off.
Which one? Technical difficulties. Carnival Chronicles. How you doing, buddy? Kitty cat. Let's see here. This cat is like a dog. Stop it. What are you doing? I haven't done anything to you. Why are you such an asshole to me sometimes? Ugh. Hey, Carlos is doing well, which is good. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. Sawadee ton chao. Sawadee ton chao, ladies and gentlemen. Supap sutri la supap burut. One of the first things I learned how to say in Thai was Prod Pood Cha Cha, which is please speak slowly. And then I learned Supap Burut La Supap Sutri, which is ladies and gentlemen. You want to get down now? Sid is a very cool cat, but he's mama's cat, not mine. And he has some kind of a... All right, get out of here. Yeah, get out. She goes anywhere, she moves, and he runs with her. He's got to be like by her ankle. And I have a contentious relationship with him. I sit usually I'm not in my office, I'm out, whether I'm at Starbucks or wherever I am. But if I'm in the house and I'm at the table or somewhere like that, he wants to sit right behind the laptop. And I'll be typing away, and all of a sudden I'll feel his paw hit me. And he just does it over and over and over. And you cannot, he's tenacious. He's like a pit bull. You take him, you put him down on the floor, he jumps back up. You put him in another room, he gets out. He's a character, to put it mildly. But, you know, he's an addition to the... He's been a nice addition to the house, so contentious relationship or not, he's part of the family. Anyway, today we're going to talk about sensitive topics. We're going to talk about taboo topics, 15 forbidden topics about Thailand that you may not really want to know about. Most of you know a little bit about this, but people don't generally talk about these things. And before I get into this, the monarchy is not even on this list. If you got good things to say, that's one thing. If you have negative things to say, then she's from Suratani. But if you have negative things to say, keep them to yourself. That's something that is about, that is the number one thing. You don't need to talk poorly. If you want to, do that in the privacy of your own house or wherever it is. Do it outside the country, but don't do it here, because that is about the dumbest thing that you can do for a number of reasons. Okay. Yeah, and she's actually sitting out here. She's working from home today. But we're gonna jump right into it in a moment. Before I get into it, though, do me a favor, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Check out my website. Now, I got something to tell you guys. You took away his balls when he was a child. You didn't let him choose his sexual preference. Well, that was. I could blame it on Bo, but I won't. He needed it. He how does he miss something he's never had? I mean, I don't know. What are you gonna do? It's better than him tearing up the whole house. He has a little scratch thing, but he's torn that up. It's just a mess. But what was I gonna say? Oh, my website. I don't like to get into the whole website talk all that much or whatever. You want to visit my website, visit it. It used to be a lot more informative, in my opinion. I used to write things on it all the time, and I don't know what happened, where I went in a different direction. But that website, I've been working on it off and on, here and there. But that website is going to be an information website. Basically, it's going to be strictly information. You want to go and you want to find something out about Thailand, boom, you want to find out what months to what months it's hot, it's cold, what's the history of Siam. If you want to find out these kind of things, you want to know all about Thailand, it's going to be the go-to website because I figured out a few things technologically, and it's going to help a lot. I'll be able to put up a lot of information very quickly, and so go visit my website, anamericaninbangkok.com. And there's also a little shop on there. You can get a shirt that says An American in Bangkok. You can get all kinds of other shirts. There's all kinds of stuff, if you want to get it. So pick up a shirt, help support the channel. I appreciate that. But let's get started here. These are some things that, some people, you come here, you're not, let's face it, you go to a country and you're traveling, you're not thinking about, what about all the terrible things that take place there? I don't know if you know this, and I meant to speak, I did speak to Chuck, but I didn't speak to him about this, but it is something that I've heard and that I've seen, and if you think about it, it does take place, and that is gay rights and discrimination against the LGBTQ community. I have to look at that because I don't remember the acronym. I always forget this stuff. And quite frankly, I never even say that, but I'm saying it now because of the context of this stream. Some people think that, everything is open here and people don't care, but there are a lot of people that do care. And if you look at businesses, the vast majority of the time, when do you see somebody in customer service, aside from a makeup counter or something like that, when do you see, I don't even know how to address this. When do you see people who, that they're gay, they're openly gay, or they are a lady boy, or whatever you want to call them? When do you see them as managers or bosses? Very seldom. There's a very, very small percentage. There is discrimination against them. Despite some progress in recent years, discrimination and marginalization of the LGBTQ community is still a significant problem in Thailand. Same-sex relationships are not legally recognized. I thought they were. And there is no legal protection against discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. This can lead to difficulties in assessing employment, housing, and health care for LGBTQ individuals. Additionally, there is often a lack of representation and visibility for the community in mainstream media and society, which can contribute to feelings of isolation and marginalization. Now, I don't hang out with a lot of people in this community, just because I don't hang out with a lot of people in general, but I don't, I just don't here. There's no reason for me to. So I don't know, other than what I've been told, and there was a fighter that there was a movie made about quite some time ago. Good morning, Kunjanaro. Good morning, good morning. There was a movie called Beautiful Boxer. It was made, it's been many years now. Well, that could be true, Carlos. I've heard that as well. I've heard some things about indoctrination into the military as well, where they take men who may not be so manly and they basically turn them. The cat likes Dorian, right, Bo? Yeah. Cat likes Dorian. Bo says hello. And I see the cat comes in here, then as soon as she walks back to the table, he walks and goes after her. He's like a little dog. But where was I? Oh, Beautiful Boxer. Now, if any of you know this movie, the basic story is that this kid, was confused and became a woman and then started fighting men here in Thailand and started winning and did actually pretty well. I mean, he's a pretty good fighter. I don't know that he was ever like the elite of the elite, I wouldn't go saying he was one of the very best, but he was very good. Or she was very good. I don't know what his name was when he was a male, but when he, what do you say, converted or... I don't even know how to address it. This is how out of touch I am with this. There was a time that I was training in Muay Thai at a gym. It wasn't too far from here. And she being Nong Tum. That was her name, Nong Tum. She came to the gym, and there was a comedian there, Saint Ahoy, who's very well known because of his hair. He's been around forever. He was a very nice guy, just a little guy, nice guy. He was very friendly to me, and he wanted to know everything about me and everything. We start talking, and it turns out that the skit they were doing was that they were going to get this comedian, and Nong Tum was going to train him in Muay Thai, and he basically was hitting like a stereotypical woman would hit, with like a limp wrist and didn't know how to punch and was, doing this kind of stuff. It was a whole skit, and I was in the skit. I was in the show. It was only a couple of minutes. It was like, for them, it was like 10 minutes or something, the whole thing. But I was in it for about a minute. It just showed me hitting the pads and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I talked to Nong Tum for a few minutes. 5 minutes. And it was really bad. I was like, it wasn't as bad as in the movie. Worse. So and this is about 10 years ago, so maybe it's gotten better. But even now, even back then, it was really bad. That was one of the reasons why he learned to fight, was because he got sick and tired of getting bullied because of his preference. So that's number 15. And if you think about it, listen, there used to be, I don't know if you guys remember, it's been quite some time, but when I used to go to Starbucks, and this was probably 7-8 years ago, and I think 2Q Asia, 2 quarters Asian, I think you remember this person. There was an employee at Starbucks, and it was always, your typical Thai, very nice, very polite, very friendly to me. I didn't know, was it a man or a woman? I had no idea. Now, this person was never allowed to work at the register. was never allowed to serve the customers. All it did was walk around. All it did was walk around with a rag and wipe up tables and pick up the trash and bring in the. It was like a busboy. That's all it did. It didn't do anything else. That's the kind of job that they give people. So when you see someone and they're working in a club, when they're, like in a club as a sex worker, or they are working at a makeup counter or something, they don't have the most amount of options aside from some of the people who are very well educated and who just choose to be that way. Now, I do know one person that just popped into my head. I know one person, and she was the nicest person, so nice, but you could tell, she was in a little bit of pain because of how she was treated, and she didn't know how was she ever going to find somebody and that kind of thing. But the nicest person. And so I mean, listen, I've never really cared about all this stuff. I'm not going to go out and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to go and champion their cause. I don't champion many causes at all. But what I can say is, what does it matter? What do you care? Now, I do understand from a customer service perspective, some people, they're freaked out. They get freaked out by some people. And some people are not, it's not the transition, that's what the word was, transition. The transition is not as smooth, we'll say, as with other people, where, it's not quite as noticeable. Some people look like football players and, you're wondering what they were thinking. Oh yeah, my morning sensitivity class. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody, if I haven't said good morning to you. Now, number 14, I'm going to just move on from that because I'm uncomfortable with it. And I think many people are uncomfortable with that subject. It's too bad that Chucky doesn't come into the stream. I did give him the link today, and I've been trying to get him to come in, but it's a little difficult with the new YouTube thing, because if you're we haven't had a chance to practice with it and make sure that it works. And there's a new thing with YouTube where you can bring people in from other channels, but when you set the stream, everybody has to come in. If they don't come in, the stream doesn't work. So I don't know why they did it that way. But anyway, when I talked to him about it, okay, he's very he's very specific in the things that he says and why things are the way they are. My knowledge of this is limited. So better we move on. But I think you do need to have a little bit of sensitivity. This is not somebody, I'm not saying that you have to call them by their pronoun or anything like that. I'm just saying, you have to have a little sensitivity. But this is one of the things that is a problem. Now, number 14 is youth unemployment, which I was not aware of. Youth unemployment is a significant problem in Thailand, with many people facing difficulty finding work. This is due to a lack of job opportunities and a mismatch between the skills of young people and the needs of employers. Now, I've never heard people say anything about this. I haven't heard this in all my time in Thailand. I have not heard about this being a problem. I don't know. I don't believe that, random commentator, but I believe that there are people that do believe that. And I don't know. I've always wondered, like, what's in the water? What is the reason for there being as many people who transition as there are here? And I believe there are a lot of people in the Philippines as well. I believe there is something here that lends itself to this happening, and I think that part of that is the I always thought it was the tolerance, but from the research I've done, there's not as much tolerance as you think. So, but the youth unemployment thing, Alex just got in as an intern. I think it's 3 or 4 months, his internship. I got 2 of these things now. Thank you, Carnival Chronicles. I got this, and then I got this. I use them both. So when I'm sitting around, I got plenty of water. There's an issue in East Side with young people not working. Most don't want to work in the great outdoors. Well, there is a problem with. There's still a big problem with the skin color, and if you go out and work in a rice field, that's not. I don't understand why it is that many people, and it's not just in Thailand, that they believe that doing hard work, whether it's labor, because let me tell you something, when I was a kid, I was in high school, going to night school at 17, and you hear this? I was in night school. I went to night school for high school. I was 16 years old, and I went, that's it. I want to go to night school. I want to get out of here. I don't like this. I want to work. I want to do something. And I busted my ass for years, probably for 10 years. From the time I was 16 to about to the time I was 30. I did physical labor, hard physical labor. And I just thought it's an honest living. I'm not in prison. I could have dealt coke. I could have done anything. I could have done all kinds of things like that. I could have went the other direction. Instead, I went to Thailand. But I think here, the thing is that people are very judgmental. You may not think so, but they are. They're very judgmental. And if you got dark skin, boom, immediately you are pegged as someone who is lower than. And that's why I used to wonder, why are all the taxi drivers laughing at the foreigners walking by with the lovely Thai girls? They're cute. Oh, good looking, really nice girls. Because they got dark skin. Now, of course, these motorcycle drivers would be lucky to be able to get in the pants of some of these girls and to be with some of these girls, but they will never admit that. They'll, and I wrote about this before. They believe that, she's not good looking, dark skin. And it comes from that mentality, the farmer mentality of people. Oh, well, all they do is work on the rice farm. What's so wrong with working on the rice farm? If you're making a decent living and it's an honest living, what's wrong with that? And, you supplement your income if you need to, doing something else. You're selling pigs, you're selling, ganja, whatever it is. What's wrong with that? To me, there's nothing wrong with it. I like the guy, what's his name? Andrew Tate. I like him, and I like a lot of what he says, but I don't like some of the things he says. And one of the things that I don't particularly agree with is if you're not filthy rich, you're a loser. I've never believed that. Now, maybe that's because I'm not filthy rich, and I don't want to think of myself as a loser. But what is better? Think about this. Now, I don't know if he's guilty, not guilty. I have no idea. My guess is that there's an element of truth to what's being said. However, I also believe that he said a lot of things and pissed a lot of people off in the wrong places. So I would not be surprised if they are setting him up or just trying to stifle him. But, there was a time when he wasn't filthy rich. Did that mean he was a loser back then? And what do you want to do? Do you want to be in prison for 10 years for doing something that you shouldn't have done? Or say 20 years, but you were rich for a period of time? Or do you want to not be that wealthy, not to be as wealthy? You don't have to be as wealthy as he supposedly is. And I say supposedly because you don't really know. He could be worth $3 million and that's it. You don't really know. What do you want to choose? And that's the thing. I thought to myself, because I grew up in South Miami, there was coke everywhere. I could have become a wheeler dealer. But the chance of going to prison was enough to stop me from saying, let me go out and mow yards and wash cars when I was, in my teens and do this kind of stuff. I'm not going to hustle the rock, or there wasn't even rock back then, but there were rocks they weren't considered rocks as in crack, but so what are you going to do? So anyway, I mean, I do understand in one aspect, culturally here, I think the younger people, they don't want to do that hard labor. And that's why they get people from Myanmar, they get people from Cambodia, they get people from Laos, they get people from Malaysia, wherever it might be, Cambodia, all the border places. You'll see that there are a number of foreigners working there, and they are just like illegal immigrants or Mexicans coming into the United States and working on a border town. They're the same thing. They're doing exactly the same thing. They got Burmese working in places. If I just walk down to the market, you'll see young Burmese guys. They're working in the market. Now, my guess is they're not legal, but they're allowed in because the Thais, a lot of them don't want to do that work. Let's face it, it's hard work. And when you get older, I always feel bad when I see some older woman or older guy and he's all hunched over and he's lugging around a couple hundred, of something that obviously probably weighs more than he does or she does. And they're trying to struggle with it. And that's what they've been doing for the past 40 or 50 years. I don't know if you guys remember, but in Klong Tuy, there was a woman, she was 85 years old. And she's all hunched over and she was walking around and she's like carrying stuff, I think it was garbage or something, so that she could bring it back and then sift through it. And it was heavy and she's all hunched over. I always feel for that, for that, those people who are doing that because they don't have a choice. And in Southeast Asia, you can find that everywhere. So I guess I didn't know about this really, but now that I think about it, yeah, if you've been here for a while, you start to see patterns. And one of those patterns is that, younger people, even younger people with an education, find themselves in a position where they're doing something they really don't want to do, and it might be hard labor. It might be really hard work. Some people, they work a physical job all their life. There's a guy that is a friend of the family that I know. I don't know how old he is now. He's probably 80. But his whole life was spent doing hard physical labor. As he got older, it diminished a little bit because he had other people doing it for him. But it is something to think about. So I got to say that I was a little concerned when Alex was looking for an internship because it was like he went through 3 or 4 places and he didn't find anything. And I thought, wow, I thought it would be so easy for him. And I was a little concerned. And then, boom, he got a spot, and I feel better now. But I don't think he's going to have any problems. I wouldn't think so, but you never know. Okay, now number 13. Let's get through some of these. Access to health care in rural. I always have a problem saying that word. Rural areas. Rural. I don't know why I have such a problem with that word. Healthcare services in rural areas are often limited due to the lack of healthcare professionals in funding. This can lead to a lack of access to basic healthcare services and a higher rate of illnesses and deaths in these areas. And I did have an accident once out in a village a long time ago. This is 25 years ago or so. It took me to a hospital, and it was like about as basic as you could get. And fortunately, I didn't need anything more than some cleaning. I had a motorcycle accident, and they cleaned me up, and that was about it. But I was a little bit worried. So yeah, that's a problem. And you think if you're living out in a village somewhere and a hospital is 2 hours away, this is something I talk about for myself. If I'm ever living out in the middle of nowhere, well, one thing you got to think about is if you have a problem and it takes 2 hours, 3 hours to get to a hospital and get seen, by the time you get in, they see you, they've got you set up. Let's say it's 2 or 3 hours. It might be, that's it. You're done. So, yeah, but there are places, the whole thing is that a lot of places have clinics and stuff like that. I think it's getting better now. I don't really know. But from what I've seen, I think it is getting better. I think there are more places, there are clinics and things like that where they can help, emergency setups. But it does make you think. And it's too bad Jim's not here. Carlos, you go out in the villages sometimes. I'm curious to know, like how far away it is for some people because, like I said, you got to go an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and you're on a motorbike or something like that. It's not easy. Okay, number 12, education disparities. There are significant disparities in education in Thailand, particularly between urban and rural areas. This is due to a lack of resources and funding for rural schools, leading to lower levels of education and limited opportunities for students in these areas. So, I know several people with kids who went to school out in villages or near villages or whatever, and most of them seem to come out okay, but maybe that's because the people that I know are Westerners, and they're helping provide their kid with a better education. Even going to a public school costs money here, and some people just don't have the money, or they just want their kid to be the labor on the farm or wherever it may be. 1 hour to Nong Khai, our village has basic stuff. Yeah. Okay, so as long as they got the basic stuff, you're probably all right, which is important. And I think that is something that you need to check out. If you're going to move somewhere and you go, oh, my wife, she lives out in the middle of this village and it's such a beautiful place, but it's really secluded and isolated. Well, you need to figure out, first of all, how old are you and what's going to happen if you have an accident. Even something where you're cut and you're having a hard time stopping the blood. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to use the tourniquet? You're going to wrap yourself with a lot of gauze or whatever, and then hope that in the 2 hours or hour and a half it takes you to get somewhere, you don't bleed out. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, is if you can take care of, I know some basic health matters, Most come see me when they're ill. Yeah, I know from experience and from being around myself and for other reasons, I know a little bit. I'm not going to be performing surgery most of the time. If I had to, I guess maybe I could, but who knows how that would turn out. Anyway, let's go on here. Let's go on. Number 12. No, I already said that. That was education spirits. Number 11, and this surprised me also, lack of affordable housing. You want a roof over your head? In Thailand, you may be lucky to have a cardboard box. I kind of thought that was a little bit strange, but despite economic growth, the cost of housing in Thailand is increasing, making it difficult for people, particularly low-income earners, to afford a home. Yeah, I don't know, because I know there are places out there that are affordable. You would think they're affordable. But if you think about it, I don't know, I haven't been asking people, I haven't been around, as many people in the last few years, but when I do remember, you would say, somebody would ask, oh, how much is your place? Oh, 7,000. Oh, pang mak, nah. It's expensive. And you're like, what? Really? So, you know, there are people that just they can't afford. I mean, think about what was her name? Oi, Bang and Oi in Kong Tui. She paid 500 baht a month to stay in that place. Now, it wasn't really a place you want to live in, but it was a roof, and you know she was grateful to have that. So that gives you an idea that maybe things are not quite what you think here. You know, everybody from the West thinks, oh, you're only paying $400 a month, but you know, $400 here is still quite a bit of money. Which I'm going to get into right here. Number 6, rural. If this is number 6, I'm going to skip over this just because it's a good segue. Rural poverty. Despite its overall economic growth, Thailand still has high levels of poverty in rural areas, particularly in the northeastern region of the country. This is due to a lack of economic opportunities and limited access to resources and services. Now, if you think about it, think about Kanchanaburi. Now, I would call a lot of Kanchanaburi is pretty rural. It's out there. But because of tourism, because there is something to fall back on, there's not a lot of poverty there. But if you go somewhere, you know, in Isan or something like that, and there is no, there is no tourism, there is no like, oh, this village, all we do here is make silk. This is what we rely on, and we're making good money from it. Okay, if they don't have that, then they're stuck. They don't have as many opportunities. And yes, the minimum wage, I mean, and you know, I think when people retire here, a lot of people, they will get a pension from the government. But it's 500 or 600 baht. That's it. 500 or 600 baht. It's nothing. Let me see here. I don't know what it is right now. I thought it was around 15,000, 18,000. But it's constantly changing, and it depends on the region and all this other kind of stuff. The average wage depends on the industry and location. And according to the data from the National Statistical Office of Thailand, as of 2020, the average monthly wage for employees in Thailand was around 20,000 baht, approximately $650. US dollars. However, wages in Bangkok and other major cities tend to be higher than in rural areas. Additionally, wages in certain industries such as technology and finance tend to be higher than others, such as agricultural and retail. So there you go. There's the answer to your question. It's not 300, maybe out in the villages. I don't know if I can... Generally lower than the national average, according to the data from the National Statistical Office 2020. The average monthly wage in the Isan region is approximately $450. So go to Bangkok, the average is 20. Go to Isan, the average is about 14,000. So there you go. I think they're getting somewhere around 15 to 20 if they're working full time. At least 15. And they get all kinds of benefits and stuff like that. I've asked them, but it's been years since I've asked. I mean, it's been 3, 4, 5 years. Well, I'm going to get into that in a minute, too. One thing at a time. Hey, don't forget to click the thumbs up, please. Don't forget to go to the website, all that stuff. There's super chats, I didn't know there's super thanks. They got all these different things now. YouTube's they're really trying to help people make money without trying to charge people to use YouTube. Now, what I think, and I won't get into the, I won't go into depth about this. There is no such thing as overtime pay that I know of here. I can tell you that there are people who have contracts that say this is how many hours you need to work a week. This has happened to me in the United States. This is exactly what happens. I used to work in a print shop. I go in, the guy was Dutch. His wife was American. They had this print shop. It was cool. I liked it at first. And then he got slammed. He got all these different orders. And I was the only printer. So I get my first check. And I got paid straight time. I'd work like 60 hours. I'm like 20 hours. I got straight time. I was making like $15 an hour. I'm like, wait a minute, that's $150 right there. If that happens every week, I'm losing out on a lot of money. And I complained. The guy's like, no, we only pay straight time, buddy. I go, what do you mean? It's the law. You're supposed to pay time and a half. Now, I don't think that's the case here, but what his logic was and what the logic is here is, well, if you can't get the work done in your 50 hours that you're supposed to work every week, that's your problem, not ours. You got to work extra. You're going to have to keep working. A job for many people here, a job is a lifestyle. It's not like, okay, well, I'm going to go to work today at the bank, and I'm going to get off of work, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Maybe a bank is a bad example. I'm going to go to the office today. I'm going to work from 8 to 5. I'm off work. Boom, that's it. Friday, I don't have to think about work anymore. No, that's not how it is. So, let me get to another. We talk about the poverty, but let me go back down here. Let's see, where was what I wanted to say next? Well, it doesn't really say exploitation. Oh, here we go. Labor rights and worker exploitation. Thailand has a history of labor rights violations, including poor working conditions and low wages for migrant workers. Many workers, particularly in the fishing and construction industries, are not protected by labor laws and are vulnerable to exploitation. Quite some time ago, I did a little video. It's right down the street from the house. They were building condos. The condos are built now. They're up. But they were building condos. And across the street, I saw these shacks, tin shacks. And I'm like, let me walk around here. I start walking around, start talking to one of the guys. He's like, oh, yeah, we live here. I'm like, you live here? He goes, well, we're working on the thing here. So the idea was that they worked and they didn't make as much money. And they were Burmese, they were Thai, but they worked. They didn't make as much money, but they got to live there. And maybe they gave them some rice or something. I don't know, rice and fish or whatever. And that was how it was. They weren't making $20 an hour. Oh, I'm a construction worker. I'm respected. I'm busting my... No, that's not how it is. There is no recourse here, and that is part of the problem. And especially, imagine, you're an illegal. Technically, you're illegal. Who are you going to complain to? At least here we can report abuses and get some help. In most cases, hate to be a foreigner, minimum wage worker in Thailand. Those are the worst. Yeah. I mean, you got to feel for some of the people here. If you have any kind of feeling at all, you know that there are people out here just being exploited and abused big time. So, all right. Let's go on to the next one here. Discrimination against ethnic minorities. This is something people don't talk about that here. Most people don't talk about it. Foreigners might talk about it, which is why I'm telling you guys. Now, when I was working as a photojournalist, I took this girl. She needed a fixer. She needed somebody who knew Thailand. I said, okay, here's the deal. This is what we do. This is how much you pay. I need expenses, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We went to the border of Thailand. I think it was Mass Salt, but it could have been farther north, I don't remember. And we were going into the camps. Now, the people are not allowed. They can go out of their camp and go to a certain point, and that was it. That's how it is. The same goes with the Sea Gypsies. When I was in Koh Chang, I asked about it, and they were like, no, we can go out in the ocean, we can be here on the island, but we can't just go running around and go wherever we want in Thailand, because they don't even have papers, some of them. So when I went into the camp, they were like, you can't come in here. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Now, here's my credentials, blah, 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 blah. She didn't have any credentials. They didn't want to let her in. I said, listen, the only way you're going to get in is sneak in. And, that's, you stand out. I mean, she was like I'm not even going to get what she looked like, but she had blonde hair and blue eyes. She stood out like a sore thumb. And she did sneak in. But basically, all she could do, she went in through the trunk of a car. She went right up to the house. They made sure there was nobody outside. She got out of the trunk, went straight into the house, and she just hung out with the people, took photos in there, and that was it. Then they snuck her out again. I didn't want to be any part of that, because I didn't want to get in trouble for her. So I was like, that's it, I'm done. See you later. Time to go. I don't want to be a part of this. But it was shocking to go in and to, like these people, it's a generational thing. So anyway, Thailand has a diverse population with ethnic minorities, particularly in the northern and southern regions of the country, face discrimination and marginalization. This includes economic, political, and social discrimination. So I think if you really think about it, you'll see it everywhere. I didn't know about this. I have an idea about this because of the cha notes and the lack of cha notes and people just moving on to land. Land rights and land grabbing. In Thailand, land rights are often unclear, and this has led to conflicts between individuals and groups over land ownership. This problem is particularly prevalent in rural areas where land is often grabbed by large corporations and wealthy individuals, leaving local communities without access to land or farming and other livelihoods. This is something that nobody talks about. People don't talk about this stuff. They really don't. Now here's something else, and I think most people who know a little bit about Thailand know that this is true, but one of the big problems here is the lack of access to health care for people with mental issues. Thailand has a high rate of mental health issues. Think about just every time I go into Klong Toi, which I haven't been to in a while. I'll probably go back soon because things are changing there, and I want to see where they are. It's good to get a little bit of an update. But think about when I go there, how many people I run into over the course of a few streams, we'll say, or videos. How many people I run into, and there's something wrong. There's something seriously wrong. They got problems. They can barely function. And the one person that I remember is if anybody's been watching for a long time, there was a woman who became addicted to yaba, and she was gone. She didn't know. She was just completely gone. That stuff fried her brain. And they told me stories about her where they had to basically detox her, because she was so bad that she would take a dump and she would be playing with it, and she would smear it on the wall. She thought it was like clay or like finger painting or something, and I was like, ugh. And the last time I saw the woman, she looked a lot better because she'd been on medication. Somehow her brother was taking care of her, and her brother was paying to get her help. And so she was much better. But man, when I first met the woman, she was in bad shape. And even where she lives, Um, if you guys remember, I know some of you probably remember who I'm talking about. She lived outside, and it was just a big garbage mound next to the apartment where her brother and brother's wife lived. She lived out there, and it was like a little platform with a tin roof over it, and there were three walls, but one wall was open, and right next to the wall was a toilet. Right next to the front where she had to get up and walk out, and she just sat there all day long, just laid there. So this is not good, obviously. There's a lack of mental health professionals and limited funding for mental health services. Good morning, Dallo. Good morning, everybody. So there you go. That's a big one. Something else they don't have on this list, but I've been listening to a few people, and one of the things in China that's a huge problem is the aging. And I think this is a problem here in Thailand. The number of deaths is outweighing the number of births. Okay, Michael, take care. And so what's happening is there's not as many people that are young who can do the things that young people need to do. The people that are older either don't want to or can't do these things. All right, let me go on here. Rural poverty, we already talked about. Number 5, corruption. Corruption is a pervasive problem in Thailand, and it affects many aspects of public life, including politics, business, and law enforcement. This can lead to unequal access to opportunities and resources for different segments of society. That's definitely true. But in Thailand, it's a way of life. I don't believe they even have a word for it in the Thai language. They may, but I heard that a long time ago, so maybe they've incorporated it in. I don't really know, but what I do know is that it is prevalent here, and if you are, it's how things operate here. And it may not even be viewed in the same light as we view it. I know in some cases it is, definitely, but there are instances where like think about something. If you were driving your motorcycle down the street in LA and you're speeding, you get pulled over. Here's your ticket, you need to go to court. Now that officer has to go to court. You need to go to court. That means both of you need to take time off of your schedule, go to court. It involves a judge. It costs money. You got to go to court. Court's got water, electric. It's got all these people working there that they've got to pay. It's expensive, right? Now you go and you pay that. You go pay the ticket. It's $150, $200, whatever it is, depending on how fast you are. Here, I don't know what it is now because I haven't had any problems in many years. But I was in where was it? Udon Thani or Chiang Mai or somewhere once, and I was driving a motorbike and I didn't have my helmet on. Just driving in the city. Didn't have didn't have a helmet on, and they stopped me. And I said, "Do I need to go in and take care of this?" Nope. Give me 500 baht. Boom. 500 baht. Done. See you later. Okay, put your helmet on. Yeah, okay. So when it works for you, it can be convenient, but it doesn't always work for you, and that's part of the problem. Look at, how would you feel if you were one of the people who was killed with the Red Bull, but when the guy, the Red Bull, the son of the Red Bull heir, or whatever he is, he's the heir, the son of the Red Bull founder. You kill a bunch of people, he gets off scot-free. He's gone. That's it. No, sorry, we're not going to do anything. Where's the justice? So that's a bit of a problem, but it does affect all walks of life here. And it's not just here. It's in Southeast Asia. You got to, listen, you're going to come here. There's things that you have to become accustomed to. If you're so moral that you can't get past it, then you shouldn't come here. because some things you just can't do anything about, and there's just not much you can do about it. Now, here's something else, and this always worried me. It still worries me, and I've seen some pretty awful things because of this. But drug abuse. Thailand has a high rate of drug abuse, particularly with methamphetamines, which has led to significant public health and social problems. The drug problem is causing a strain on the criminal justice system and healthcare system. If this is the place, if people they want to use that stuff, the yaba, they want to use that stuff. This is the place. And I've seen it before. I've seen people smoking it, and I've seen people that were high on it doing crazy shit. There's a reason why they call it the crazy drug. And that's because it makes people crazy after a while. Just like I said about the woman doing stuff it's just disgusting. But then there's people who, they grab kids and they got a knife and they got standoffs with the cops. Just look up Yaba on YouTube. It is a problem, and it's definitely something you don't want to get involved with. So. Janara, with great power comes great responsibility. Far too stressful for this Aussie. Yeah, I'm stressed out. I'm always stressed out. She passed away? Oh my God, really? I just saw that she was ill. Holy shit. She was young, man. 54. Wow. Well, rest in peace. Cardiac arrest. I wonder why she had cardiac arrest, She was very young, and I'm sure she had good health care, and, she was, I don't know. I don't know. I'm shocked. That's pretty shocking. Pretty shocking. Wow, I didn't know that. Well, yeah, Jeff Beck passed away a couple days ago. He was a bit older. Crazy, man. It just goes to show you, though, that you can go at any time. And believe me, I always think of that. I've known enough people that I've had enough experiences firsthand seeing people that I knew go very quickly, and I was like, what the hell? I mean, I had a good friend. I used to train with him in karate and kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I used to train it. He ended up opening up a gym a long time ago. And I've told this story before, but one day he bought my book. They call me Farang. He bought the book, and he's like, "Oh, this is my Christmas present to myself. I'm gonna read it over Christmas." And then, like a week or two later, his mother posted on his Facebook that he had passed away. And I'm like, "What the hell's going on, man?" The guy was only like 45 years old, and he was in good shape, So anything can happen, and you gotta. That's the thing. What do you think I'm always trying to do stuff for? Why do you think I'm always trying to, go places, see things, do things, learn things? Because one minute you're here, one minute you're gone. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about what's going on. I know what I believe, and, doesn't really matter to me. I mean, whatever's going on is going on, and that they'll figure that out eventually. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, let me go on here. Let me move on. Now, political instability. If you love coups and protests, then you're going to love Thailand. I don't even know how many, three or four. I've been through three or four here. Thailand has a history of political turmoil, including coups and protests, which have disrupted the stability of the country. Political instability has led to economic uncertainty, which has negatively impacted the lives of many people. Uh, they don't even want people going down to the south in Narathiwat, Yala, and Patani. They don't even want people going down there because they're so scared something's going to happen, and they feel it's so dangerous. Now, I've been down in Yala um, for a day, and you know, the way that it works is if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's how it works. You're gone. You just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's the thing. When you come to Thailand, Thailand is for the most part, it's a very safe place. You don't mouth off to people. You don't get aggressive with people. Most of the time, you're going to be fine. You start showing money, getting involved in deals maybe you shouldn't get involved in, stretching yourself thin with financially to where you're trying to make deals with people you shouldn't be making deals with or something like that, then yeah, okay, things might get really dangerous really quickly. But that's how it works. You make one wrong move, that's it. Boom, that's it. You're gone. You're done. And I can't say that I've ever did I refrain from anything that ever will get me in trouble. I have done a few things over time, not only here but in the United States, that I was lucky. I just got lucky. I got lucky, and my wife always says. Even in Chiang Mai, there was a guy, and I basically told him, "Stop talking to my wife. You talk to me. We're making the deal. I'm the one paying. I make the deal. You don't need to talk to her. I speak Thai." And the guy was very aggressive, and I didn't like it. And I was like, and actually, me and the guy I was with, Steve, we both went, "That's it. We're not going with you. We're going with somebody else. Sorry, get out of my face." And my wife was like, "Listen, you need to always be respectful, even if you don't like what they're saying." And she's right, because in her words, you don't know. This guy could be some nutcase. He turns around and shoots you. Now, it just happened. When was it? Was it a couple days ago? Where the foreigner, I think it was in Pattaya, where the Brit beeped his horn. You're using that word Grangjai way too often, Gennaro. That is not something. I think it's a difficult concept for foreigners to grasp. Grangjai. It's not even trying to be considerate. It's a very difficult word a phrase to He honked his horn and he got shot to death in the back, and that's the thing. You never know. You might do that to the wrong person. It's like spinning the. What do you call it? Spinning a revolver, like playing Russian roulette. You just don't know, and that's another reason why I don't care how bad you are. You could be some champion UFC fighter. Listen, you mess with the wrong guy, that's it. You're done. Guy whips out a gun, shoots you. 2 seconds, you're dead. Happened to what was that guy's name? The kickboxer. He got shot. Let me see here. I know a couple kickboxers that ended up getting shot to death. Let me see who. I think it wasn't Kung Lee. Oh, this is well, I mean, look at all these. I'm looking here. I don't even see the guy's name. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion Leandro Lo shot dead. Russian former champion kickboxer shot dead. Indian kick. Okay, that's different. Fender Bender turns. Oh, this is the one I'm looking for here. Corey Sanders in South Africa, champion boxer, shot dead, or he was a contender. Peter Smits, a Dutch guy, shot dead. Here's the guy I was talking about, Alex Gong in San Francisco. There was a car accident. A hit and run driver slammed his parked car into his parked car, and then he ran after the guy. And the driver was following the rules of the road. He stopped at a red light. Well, this guy, he could run. He was fit. He ran, caught up to the vehicle, and boom, he got shot dead. So, sometimes, it's a fine line. You can go anytime, but I'd hate to get in trouble while anywhere overseas. Only once was I a bit worried in Thailand when a guy followed me. I mean, I've had a few instances in my travels. I'll tell you when I was really scared was when I was in Guyana. And then after a while, I got to know the place and how the people were and get the vibe, and I knew, okay, no problem. And, like Andy says, I never had a problem in Thailand so far. Just be smart. You're a visitor. Be respectful. I'm not a visitor. I live here. That's how, I don't look at it like I'm visiting their country. No, I'm not visiting. By the very definition, I am not visiting. I live here. I am a resident. But you do need to be smart. You do need to watch your mouth. That's probably one of the most strict rules that I would say people need to adhere to. That, and do not get emotionally involved with a working girl. I think that's just foolish, especially if you don't know what the hell you're doing. I think it's about as dumb as you can get. Now, I wanted to read something, and I'll get to that in a minute, but let me finish up here because we're at number 2, environmental issues. I gotta open this up. It's hot in here. Environmental issues. Thailand is facing, this is a big one, and they don't want people to know about this. Thailand is facing significant environmental challenges, including deforestation, air and water pollution, and a decline in biodiversity. Deforestation has led to soil erosion and a loss of habitat for wildlife. Air and water pollution is caused by industrial activities and agricultural practices. The country has also seen a decline in biodiversity due to habitat loss, overfishing, which is huge, and hunting. Illegal hunting is very big, and people don't generally talk about it much. But that's a big thing. And if you go down in the south and you go to any of the islands, you will see fishing boats. It's just a matter of time. If you're down there long enough, you will see the fishing boats. And this is another thing. This brings me to number 1, which is human trafficking. And human trafficking and exploitation kind of go hand in hand, which I already said. And also discrimination against ethnic minorities, because a lot of the people who are working on the boats tend to be Burmese. And there was a time, and I don't know if it's still going on or not, I would imagine so, but if you're some Burmese worker and you're on a fishing boat and you refuse to do something and you're going to blow the whistle on something, whatever, they just shoot you and throw you in the water. So that's something else that you that happens here all the time and people don't talk about it. Many individuals, particularly from neighboring countries, are lured to Thailand with promises of employment, but then are forced into labor or the sex trade. It's not only the sex trade. There are other industries. The fishing industry is one that's come under fire. This is a major problem in the country, and the government has been criticized for not doing enough to combat it. I sometimes wonder, what does the government do? And it's not only the Thai government. What are governments really doing? And I asked a question of one of my buddies. Okay, which country has a decent government? And maybe some of the Scandinavian countries, maybe some countries that I'm not thinking of, or right off the top of my head, are decent governments. They care about their people. They act in the interest of the masses and the people. But I don't think that this is one of them. I think this place, I don't know what they do, but just by the actions, the last few things that have happened, the flip-flopping on tourism and all that kind of stuff, you know, transformers exploding, electrical hazards on the road. If you live there, you have more to lose compared to a 2-week tourist. Well, yeah, I got a lot to lose. And, 30 years. It's almost 30 years here. And I've managed to stay out of trouble for the most part. I've learned about how much to push, how much not to push. And as I've gotten older, I don't feel the need to challenge everything, but there are some things that sometimes I need to speak up and say something about, If the government isn't doing enough, it's because the trail leads back to many of them or their context, the money train. Yeah, it's always about the money. Money and power. And I think that when we're young, we underestimate just how much money and power means to the people who are in power and the elite who control things. A Vietnam vet friend of mine said life doesn't mean much in that part of the world. Well, it doesn't mean much in the Middle East. People in the United States and the Western worlds tend to value life quite a bit more than, say, here, which, I don't know why it is the way it is, but it is. And, I remember once, this is about 20 years ago. I was still down in the Secundit area. I'm walking down the street with my wife. We'd been maybe married a year or two. And this guy was walking with his, I don't know if she was his wife or his girlfriend. And the guy walks by and, bumps me with the shoulder. I turned around and I said, hey, WTF. Gotta learn to get around these YouTube. Listen, I gotta say something before I go on about this story. I just found out, I saw something. I was just glancing through, there's the studio portion of the YouTube that gives you all your information. It gives analytics. It tells you all kinds of things and research and all these kind of things. But I done a video a while back about the legalization of ganja here. And the video was limited. The monetization was limited. The reason it was limited, you cannot talk about recreational drug use, illegal recreational drug use. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's not illegal. It's not illegal here. Why are they limiting it? It's all this, I don't even know what to call it, this sensitivity to every little thing. I use bad words. I try to limit them. But I've used bad words all my life. Foul language. My kids, they don't do what I do. They don't speak like that. They know better because I taught them that. I said it's a bad habit of mine. If I get excited, I may do that. So, anyway, let me go on here about the story. Anyway, the guy bumps me with the shoulder. I turn around. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, And the guy gets up and he's like, whoa. And I used a phrase in Thai, which basically means you're like a low lizard. It's basically F you, and and so he started coming at me, and I kind of pushed my wife aside, and I got ready. I got prepared, and I was like, I'm gonna crack this guy. And then his girl grabbed him by the arm, and she goes, no. And in the meantime, when she did that, my wife grabbed me, and my wife was like, are you nuts? Now, this is coming from a woman. But sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. Now, I wouldn't, if that happened now, I'd probably go, very sorry. And if you ever see the movie, I think it was Black Rain, I think it was Michael Douglas and Sean Connery, where he goes into a room to have a meeting with the Japanese, and he goes off on them. And Sean Connery is like, "You're an idiot. You need to listen to me and watch how I do things." And the guy basically went in, and he was the most polite person. You know, Sean Connery goes in, he's very polite. He tries. You remember what I'm talking about? He goes in and just basically schools Michael Douglas on how you interact with people. Now, there's a difference between how I would speak. If I'm speaking to you guys, if I'm speaking in the confines of my own home or amongst friends, that's one thing. You say what you want. You should be able to say what you want. For the most part, you should be able to say anything you want. You cannot moderate someone's thinking and speech. Now, you can say, we don't allow that kind of talk here. I don't want that. If every other word is the F word, I don't want it around my kindergarten children. You know, I understand that. So you have to, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the point was, but let me see. Did I finish this or not? I don't know. Human trafficking. Yeah, the government has been criticized for not doing enough to combat it. Well, there's a lot of countries that, and I think the United States is actually the biggest human trafficker that there is. I've been in Bangkok a couple of times. I've been in the women's, I've been in 3 prisons. I don't remember one of the names of them, and I've been in the Women's Correctional Institute or something like that. I think it was, I went into the Women's Correctional Facility. I went into Bangkok, and I went into some other place where there was a fight to cover the fight. And it was amazing because it was amazing because I'm like walking around, you know, taking photos, and this guy just, "Hey man, how's it going?" I'm like, "Hey, how are you, man?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm a prisoner." "Really?" He's a trustee. And so I had a long conversation with him. "What do you want to get banned for? You don't need to get banned. Come on." "Janara, it'll be a Netflix. He's too old." "What?" "Huh?" "Janara, it'll be a Netflix series before you know it." I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just going to get older and older. That's how life works. Unfortunately, you get old, and one day I'm going to be gone. One day, some of you guys will still be alive, and you're going to hear, "Ooh, Malin, he just died." "Really? Well, he still got his YouTube videos up." "No, he doesn't." Hanoi Hilton. Well, that doesn't really count. What I can say, I can tell you one thing. I went to the women's prison, and the place is immaculate. It is not filthy. It is not, you know, what you would think. It's immaculate. The grass is perfect. There's flowers, and their rooms are very clean. However, their cells are not like your traditional cell. It's not, "Hey, I've got my own room," or "Hey, I've got 2 or 3 other people in my room." No, it's, I got a picture somewhere. It's something like, count for the day, 87 people. They all sleep in one room. And there's like 3 toilets. And there is no wall. You got to take a dump. You just go. You got to do your business. You just sit there, do your business, right in front of all the other girls. Hey, you know, this is how we do it. And that alone was kind of disgusting. With the Bangkok, it was a little bit scary. there were portions of the place that were a little bit scary, and I had to get special permission to go in. I think 2 of the 3 places I had the place where the fight place I didn't have to get permission. But other than that, the other 2 places I had to get special permission to go in. I mean, I had a paper signed. I had to be, dressed properly. I couldn't wear short. When I went into the women's prison, I could not go in shorts. I had to go in long pants. And when I was walking through the prison, the director or whatever she was of the prison, the boss, the big boss, she said, we can't let you walk around in shorts. We don't want the women getting aroused. And I was like, still got it, baby. No. I just thought that was a bit strange. So they're gonna get turned on by my legs, and I was like, well, I guess maybe if you've been in here for 10 years, Yeah, you don't. This is the thing. Better to stay out of fights. Better to not get involved in drugs. Better to watch your P's and Q's. Now listen. We are 81 minutes in. No super chats. No, what do you call them? Buy me a coffees. No shirts been sold off my website. If anything, get yourself a shirt. Don't you need a shirt? Get yourself a hat. I got some good hats. You want an I Love Thailand hat? You want something like that? You want, some... Look at me. I'm in... it's a ways from here, man. I mean, it took me 2 hours to get there, something like that. Nonthaburi. Bangkok is in Nonthaburi. But get yourself a shirt. Do something. Sign up and become a member. Become a Patreon patron. I don't push Patreon very much. I'm getting ready to start some new stuff and put some... I got so much footage now that I need to be putting up I can put up little clips for people, for members and things like that, a lot more often now. And I'm starting to have the time again, so, because I'm not traveling. So if you want that stuff, there is some, there's some stuff you just go, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. But there's also some very interesting stuff. Oh, well, thank you, Dowlo. I'm very happy. I'm sorry you were late today, but I'm very happy that I have not been shut out completely. I do have a place now. If you can figure out the name of the place where I want to go, I can guarantee you're not going to figure it out. Not the province, but the city. If you can figure out where I want to go, I don't know. I'll send you a free shirt. I'll give you, your props or whatever. But there is a place that I'm looking at going next month. What's today? Yeah, next month. It'll be about a month. Yeah, I'm anxious. It's one of those things again where this is a place I'd never heard of the place. Didn't even know it existed. So, if you want a shirt, if you can tell me that place, I'll give you the free shirt. All right? I mean, that's not much, but actually I could do that. I've thought about it, Andy, and I just thought about it and thought about it. I got so many little things. You really don't know just how much goes on behind the scenes. I mean, granted, I go and have a coffee at Starbucks, but usually that if I go and stream at, say, Starbucks, I'll go and stream there, and then afterwards I got something to do. I got to go to the bank, I got to go to the grocery, whatever it might be, and then I come home, and then I got to sit down and edit and do everything and figure out, well, what's going up or whatever. Praksa, I don't know, why would I go there? What, I mean, I guess I could. I've been there many times, now that I know where you're talking about. That's where the ancient, what is it, the ancient village? What is it called? I can't even remember. Oh, that's where your home is. Oh, okay. Yeah, the ancient city. That's what it's called. Random. Thank you very much. It's not an island. Yeah, the ancient city. I've been to the ancient city 5 or 6 times. I think actually, two quarters Asian, and I went to the ancient city, to the Asian city. We went to the ancient city. Nan was a place that we were going to go. However, I'm still in shock that Lisa Marie died. Um, I really am. Thank you very much, Random. Appreciate that. Um, no, it's not Boridam. You are never gonna get this place. Believe me, there is not a chance in hell. I never even heard of this place. I was trying to hail a cab near Khaosan, all occupied. I said, F. Then a car suddenly stopped in front of me, and a Thai guy asked if I said F to him. Of course, I said no. Yeah, these guys, they worry a little bit too much about, like if you say that word. They do have, that's one thing you don't want to say. Um, yeah, I actually thought that was true there, two quarters Asian, that he was. And I almost messaged him and went, what's the deal? You're getting married to some older woman? What's happening? And I was like, okay, well, good for you if that's what you want. But apparently you made it up. We were going to go to Sarin. No, Janara, you ain't never going to get it, buddy. You won't ever get it. We were going to go to Nan. I've already said this before, but I'll say it again. We were going to go to Nan, but apparently, around Christmas time, what they do is they bump the prices up. And they don't bump the prices up a small amount. They bump the prices up like they triple and quadruple the prices. I'm talking about the hotels. And also what they do is the taxis will just go, no, it's normally 700 or 800 baht. No, we're not going to go for that. It's 3,000. And we were like, no. And then the buses tend to be full. So we were like, do we really want to take a chance to go there? No, we didn't. Now, I do want to go there at some point, but I can only do so many things at once. Here's the thing. I only have so much money to spend on traveling. I only have so much time. I only have so much energy. I don't, and I've said this before, I don't particularly like the going and coming back. It used to be exciting. Oh, I'm going to go on a plane. I'm going to fly over to Thailand. Or I'm going to fly over, to the United States. Now it's like I got to go through this rigmarole in the airport. I don't enjoy it as much. They have made it less enjoyable. Life for me is not as enjoyable when it comes to travel because of all these restrictions and guidelines and you can only have this much and yeah, I don't enjoy it as much. So I have to choose carefully. I went to the ancient city last time in Bangkok, hired one of them golf carts. Yeah, we did get a golf cart, didn't we? Two quarters Asian. We got a golf cart there. There was nobody there, and a lot of places were closed up. Now I should go there again, but man, I've been there so many times. It's not enjoyable for me. It's boring now. I've been there, like I said, I think I might have been there like 8 times. I don't know. I went there with my mother. And my sister. I went there with my kids and my wife. I went there with Longhorns or two quarters Asian. It's a good place to spend the day. If you have not been there, it's a great place. After you've been there 5, 10 times, a little bit of a luster. It loses a little bit of its luster, you know? North or south? Oh, come on, Gennaro. I'm going to say central. All right, so anyway, the 15 things on the list were human trafficking, environmental issues, political instability, drug abuse, corruption, rural poverty, labor rights and worker exploitations, mental health and access to care, land rights and land grabbing, discrimination against ethnic minorities, lack of affordable housing, education disparities, access to health care in rural areas, youth unemployment, gay rights, and discrimination against the LGBTQ community. Those are the 15 topics that are rarely discussed in Thailand. They are 15 forbidden topics. So, let's see here. There was something I wanted to talk about, but I gotta remember what it was. You know, what I think what this what is it, Bangkok BKK 2518. I was trying to hail a cab. I think one of the problems here is that, you know, maybe in the old days people were a little more understanding that they were in a different country. They showed more respect when they came here because it was a big deal to come here. The country was closed off for a long time. People didn't come here. Not many people would come here. Now, I just saw let me see if I can find it real quick. An Anthony Bourdain video when he first came to Thailand. He was young. It was really good. But he came to Asia, basically. He was in Asia. Let me see if I can find the history, though. My history here. Where's the thing here? Oh, it doesn't, it's different. They're constantly changing the YouTube behind this, the actual YouTube. If you go into your own personal channel, they're changing things up all the time. Okay, here we go. Library, they have the history. I'm going to give you guys the link. Because I think this is here we go. He used to have a show called A Cook's Tour. Hoping Big Joke will be good for time. You never know. The elections are coming up. Or they should be coming up. What's going to happen? I mean, I don't really want to talk politics, but I do wonder. Is a certain health minister going to become the prime minister or not? Anyway, that is... Let me see if I can... The name of that is... Here we go. Anthony Bourdain, A Cook's Tour, Season 2, Episode 13, One Night in Bangkok. Very good. Good stuff. I suggest you watch that. His name is Surachet Hakpan, and he is the former chief of immigration. Everybody remembers that. Apparently, he's in an advisory position to the prime minister. Whizweed. Just for research. Dallo, you should contact me. I got some very good information about that, but I don't indulge, and basically there's a couple of reasons. One of which is it doesn't fit in with the keto and with the no sugar kind of thing. You know, I'm on the no sugar, and right now I'm at about 11.5 kilos down. So it's coming off, but it's coming off slowly, very slowly. Okay, you do that. You're in Australia now, or you're here? I don't even know where you are. I can't remember all this stuff. It's doing my head in. What is Gennaro saying now? Oh. Okay, you're in Australia now. All right. Big Joke goes back to school to hunt visa crooks. He leads his investigation into Chinese gangs operating in Bangkok. The probe is expanding so fast it's only a matter of time before the cops are investigating every business in the nation's capitals. Wow, it says there are no untouchables as crime. Wait, there are no untouchables as criminal Chinese businesses appear to have pervaded almost every corner of Thai life, from the scum floating at the top of the highest of high society to the bottom feeders of Klong Tui. Is that all it says? That's the whole article? What is this? No, that can't be. Now police have decided to investigate language schools and immigration officers. Big Joke has once again expanded his examination of the ubiquitous Chinese syndicate tied to celebrity triad kingpin Chayanat Chayanat Tu Hao. On Saturday, Big Joke said a Thai language school was used to obtain student visas for many Chinese crooks. These Chinese, they'll do anything, man. They'll do anything. Now, before I close up here, before I shut her down, there is something that I wanted to say, and it has to do with what's going on with the Chinese. And that is, I saw some thing the other day, a little Joe Rogan clip with this guy who apparently knows everything and anything and everything about what's going on in China. Nick Cave, the singer, is from Alice Springs. What's that place like there? I believe it's disclosed. Let's see here. The amount. It's not that much. The Prime Minister received 75,590 baht per month and a monthly position allowance of 50,000 baht. So he gets almost 126,000 baht a month. Yeah, I have not seen or heard from Monash in quite some time. I don't know what's going on with him. You know, things happen. People get busy. They go on their merry way. Whatever. But let me finish here, if I can. I don't even remember what I was doing here. Lost my train of thought. Oh, I think I was done with the. Oh no, I know what I was talking about. It was the Rogan clip with this guy. I don't remember the guy's name. It wasn't that long ago, but they just did this thing where he's talking about how China is right now, what's going on in China now, and how because of the aging and the lack of young people, that China is going to be suffering dramatically in no more than 10 years. They're going to be in really bad shape. But one thing that he also said is there are 7 different variants of the COVID. No one knows about like 5 of them. And when you think about that, listen, I'm not somebody who's deathly afraid of this COVID or anything like that. But when you think about the fact that here China is, and they're like, oh yeah, we've got all these different variants. We don't have any herd immunity because we locked our people up. And then they're just, oh, well, we're going to let them out. And guess where they're letting them out to? One of the main places. Thailand. So, to me, it seems, and this has to do with my one of my last videos, the entry requirements here. Well, it seems that most of the time they're saying, "Oh, this variant's even worse. It's even more contagious." The guy on the Rogan podcast said this is more contagious than measles, far more contagious. Okay, whatever, right? However, it's worrying that they just let their people out and then they bitch and moan when people want them to be tested before they come over, and they say, oh, well, you can't come in unless we test you. You know, like, oh, well, it's the rest of the world. The problem with, and also the thing that really struck me, was how he spoke about Xi Jinping, and how he is basically a dictator. That's all he is. And people are scared to death of the guy. They won't tell him things. They won't let him know what's going on because they're scared he's going to kill them if they tell him. This is not good, man. China is a ticking time bomb. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. They're a ticking time bomb. And, you know, Thailand is closely aligned with them for numerous reasons. There are various countries that are closely aligned with them. But I can tell you that Thailand is not going to be able to help China get back on their bicycle and become what they were at one point. It's not going to happen. And so, you know, my reasoning for not going back to China was simply, I didn't like what I saw when I was in Hong Kong. I don't like their principles, the government ideology, their doctrine. I don't like any of that. And to go back there, it's like, you know, Chuck had wanted me to go to North Korea. I don't want to go to North Korea. Now, I will say, and here's another update. He and I spoke about going to Mozambique. I said something about Mozambique. He said, oh yeah, I've never been there. He doesn't want to go until he is officially retired. Because to go to Africa is a difficult journey. And also, he's still working. And he needs his laptop. He needs good internet, kind of like me. But I can go without for a while. I can always just shoot some video. But he needs to be connected. And so, for that reason, I think when we go somewhere, we won't be going there, at least not now. Maybe in the future. He wants to go in the future to Mozambique or some other place or places in the African continent. I wonder how Thailand will respond if a new wave from China causes an outbreak. I'm not getting the 4th dose unless it's mandated to get into other countries. I'm not getting any doses. The 2 shots in the beginning was enough for me. Yeah, I don't see the reason for it. I'm hearing far too many things that I don't like. And I don't believe that, you know, oh, we made this vaccine and, you know, there's a little purple microdot in it and it can track everywhere you go. And, it, you know, if you do the wrong thing, we can kill you. And I don't believe in all this conspiracy bullshit. I do believe that they acted hastily. And that's problematic, to say the least. That in itself is a problem. If they acted really hastily, I just have my doubts about everything about this. And this has caused me. I would say that if I was the way that I thought about the government when I was young versus the way that I think about governments as I've grown older has progressively gotten worse and worse. And after this 3-year continuing drama that's gone on, my faith in governments is at an all-time low. I don't trust the Thai government, don't trust the American government, don't trust the British government, don't trust the Australian government, don't trust many governments. How do you know? And when I say trust, I don't have to trust them. But I would expect that they act in your best interest, that they really are honest with you. Oh, do we need to talk about what's going on with Biden now? Oh, it's okay for him to misplace his documents and put them next to his Corvette in the garage. But when they find something on Trump, they go ballistic. I don't get this. Aren't we supposed to work together? Which is why I don't trust governments, because they don't work together. They don't want to work together. Somehow I don't think that's going to happen, Dowlow, although you never know. A couple of years, you might have a tail on you. I might have a tail on me. We don't know. All I know is that I have not looked into this in depth about, Biden and his documents and classified documents and all this stuff. But what is the problem where these guys have such a problem telling the truth? Why is it? And I had this big drawn out discussion with someone the other day about how you need the fresh meat, but just like, you got to drain the swamp. The problem is, in my opinion, the problem, if we're going to look at it, and you look at this list that I just went over, the 15, forbidden topics. Why are they forbidden at all? Why can't we speak openly about them? Now, I know I can't do anything about them personally here. I mean, maybe I could do a little something. I don't know. They need to be working for the good of the people as opposed to their own self-interests. And I just don't see it happening. We need fresh meat. We need people who are going to do what they say. They're going to say what they do and do what they say. I think that's how it goes. They need not to lie. And what I was saying to him, and we went back and forth on this, is that a lot of times what happens is it takes time for people to get ramped up. They don't ramp up in a day or two. It might take 2 years to ramp up on some topics, some issues. They might just be stupid. They may not have been following something, and they're just completely out there. They got to rely on the people around them. Well, maybe if the people around them are not as honest as they are, then guess what happens? They turn it over to other people. They trust what they say, and then they're trusting the wrong people. So it's a machine that is faulty. It's a system that is faulty. But I'm going to say it's a machine. I like calling it the machine. The machine is broken. The machine does not function with your best interest at heart. So where does it? Where is it that, I used to think, Australia's a great place. I do believe Australia's a great place. It's a great place as long as there's nothing like this virus going on. U.S. is the worst. We have accountability measures in place. It doesn't matter when most of the people in charge circumvent them, don't apply them to all the same way, quit following the masses. Yeah. What do you think the reason for me saying I don't care? I don't want to care anymore. because it's a fruitless endeavor, for me at least. I'm not willing to go. And the other thing that I said was, why do you think, for the most part, now there were older people in Hong Kong who were protesting what was going on. They were out there right on the front lines. There were some. But for the most part, it was young people. And you know why? They have very little to lose. If you're 60, if you're 70, you've got a business, it provides you a good living, you've got money in the bank, life is good, you know, you're still with your wife, you love your kids. And then somebody says, oh, go protest. This is not right. Most people are going to go, I don't want to lose what I got. It takes a very courageous person to say, I'm going to lose everything. I don't care. That doesn't happen most of the time. Listen, I remember the first time I put on a red shirt here and I went out and they were like, oh, you're wearing a red shirt. Somebody said that to me and I was like, well, I don't, what? Don't lump me in with everybody else. You know, don't lump me in. So, you know, I don't know, using 2/4 Asian logic, I'm not going to be around all that much longer to where I got to worry about what the government is doing. If you're 70 years old, you know, yeah, you got to be careful how hard you push. Oh, I mean, you know, when I look at, I look at the United States, I look at Australia, I look at Canada, look at Great Britain, and I just go, what the fuck, man? What's going on? Some of these people, I look at somebody like AOC, and I go, this is just wrong. She's just wrong. She's the wrong person to be in any position of power. She needs to be a bartender. You know, she needs to be doing data entry or something. Or you don't have to listen to her. A bartender, you might have to listen to her. Actually, bartenders are supposed to listen. They're not supposed to talk. They listen to people's problems. She needs to be somebody stuck on a computer in a little cubicle somewhere. That's what she needs to do. All these people, that's what they need. Shut them up. Anyway, listen, it doesn't matter who they are. Let's get that straight. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where they're from, who they are, what their name is, whether they're independent, Democrat, Republican. They're all going to bitch and moan about something. And you know what? Sometimes it'll come out in your favor and sometimes it won't. But when it comes to sticking my head in the sand, most of the time it's like, well, what's really the option? What is your alternative? Get involved, get all freaked out about it, and no. You know, I'll be the Supreme Leader's best friend if he lets me push the red button. Yeah, well, you'd probably push that button right away, which is why they won't let you in there. All right, listen, I just wanted to end here with this comment. There's actually 2 comments by this guy. This guy's, he's been around for a long time. This is Mr. Fred. And he left a comment the other day. This is an old video I put up, 10 ways to boost your chances of finding a decent Thai woman. And he commented on it. He must be going through my videos and watching some old stuff. He wants to look, you know. He says, I retired in Thailand 7 years ago. I didn't know it had been that long now. 7 years he's been here. And, you know, he was one of my first members of my website. And, you know, he doesn't always do things the way that I would say would be probably the best way to do things. But he does them his own way, and I can respect that. You know? As much as I say, oh, I think this is really the way you should proceed, it's just like a parent. Parent tells a kid what to do. The kid's like, oh, yeah, okay, mom, okay, dad. And then they do something completely different. because they don't want to do it that way. They want to learn for themselves. It was fairly simple. Avoid bar girls and concentrate on women with straight jobs and better than average education. Well, that's a good plan. However, I would say, and I did say to him, first of all, don't get involved with women until you can speak a little bit of the language, until you know the culture. And you don't know the culture, you can't speak the language generally in a period of, say, 3 months. You don't. Don't come to Thailand and be a tourist and say, oh, I was there for 2 weeks, I met this girl, oh, she's the best, I'm in love. Okay, whatever. You don't want to listen, don't listen. Don't listen to me. What do I know? I've only been here 30 years. I know nothing. Anyway, so for him to concentrate, it depends on when he was concentrating, but I know that he was concentrating almost immediately when he got here. That's a mistake. Go out, get your weasel greased. You know, okay, fine. But don't be, oh, baby, you want to move in? Oh, let me take care of you. Oh, I love you. Don't do that right away. Put the time in. Avoiding bar girls. Yeah, I said that to him. And what does he do? He moves to Pattaya. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to go on about that. You know, I understand there is a reason to move to Pattaya, and that is generally the cost is lower, you're by the beach, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can find, here we go. I'm going to give you the, what happened to the G's? There's no G in here? They skipped G? Maybe it's K. That's probably what it is. Okay. I'm going to give you the correct definition. All right, please. That's not what it is. I thought I'd give you the correct definition, but that's not it. My wife's on the phone, or I would ask her, but I would ask her for the. It has to do with consideration and care. Here we go. 117. Okay. I just want the definition. I don't want a couple of paragraphs about it. Grangjai, reluctant to impose consideration for others in a situation. Okay, so reluctant to impose consideration for others. This is a great book. I don't usually recommend stuff unless it's my own book or my own shirts or whatever. But okay, this guy's he knows his stuff. He's been around I believe, far longer than I have. I don't know how long he's been in Thailand. I don't know if he's still even in here. But he's a novelist, and he's quite good, quite knowledgeable. He wrote the book. Come on. She's busy right now. I don't want to even get into that. But let me finish this thing here so we can get on our merry way. He says, one of the worst women I encountered had a bachelor's degree in public policy from a well-known university. One of the worst human beings I've ever been. Just because a woman doesn't work in a go-go bar, beer bar, she's not a prostitute, does not mean that she's a great person. She could still be a total piece of shit. And just because a girl works in a bar doesn't mean that she is your stereotypical money-hungry girl who's only after what you have in your wallet and in your bank account. That doesn't always ring true. And that's why it takes some finesse, some finagling, some knowledge, some experience to learn the differences. And you don't learn those differences in a matter of months. Sorry. It takes a long time. Sit me down with a woman and have me talk to her, and most of the time I'll be able to figure out their intentions, and I'll tell you if they're full of shit. She finally dumped me and left her 2 daughters with the sister of her ex-husband and moved to Germany to marry some loser there. Another had a decent job at an American company in Bangkok. She dumped me for a Thai man because he promised to marry her. Well, now I gotta say, this guy's older. He's something like 70. He's 72. Okay? He's 72 years old. When you get to 72, think about it. You're gonna find some girl who's fresh and she's never been jaded? She's yet to be jaded? No, you're gonna get some older woman who's got a couple of kids, who's already had 1 or 50 or 500 relationships, and she's had good experiences, bad experiences, and you are the recipient of all that goodwill. That's how it works. Good or bad, all right? That was 5 years ago, and he still hasn't married her. Another was a waitress at a local restaurant. She had a grown son and a family that expected me to pay all her bills. Well, there's the mistake, a big mistake. Dallo, take it easy. Talk to you later. That's a huge mistake. The minute that they start expecting shit, you just go, pfft. You lay down your own guidelines. This is what is acceptable. This is not acceptable. If you have a problem with that, we might as well just move on right now. That's what you do. You gotta have, what is it? Rules, boundaries, and limitations. Just like a dog. She finally dumped me for someone else richer. He got dumped a lot. And I would say he got dumped, I'm going to say because he doesn't know how to speak the language, and also because he really doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just freewheeling it. I'm getting lucky. Hey, I'm going to meet somebody, he doesn't really know. And he's in Pattaya. You're not getting the highest quality woman there. Let's remember something. That is the Sin City of the world. Well, you're a young 72, Andy. Okay, she finally dumped me for someone richer. She has now dumped him and is back working for the restaurant again. The trash I have encountered among those with straight jobs is a little different from the much maligned bar girls. Okay, I'm just going to say something right here. I understand it's hit or miss. It really is. It's hit or miss no matter where you are in the world. It's hit or miss. You don't know. You don't truly know somebody. Listen, I saw some girl the other day on this little short thing. It was like on a Facebook or something. And she talks about being in high school. And how there was this girl. She's with this guy. The guy was a total dog. Took her virginity. He was a total dog, though. He cheated on her, screwed all kinds of other women. Finally, the guy dumped her. She's in love, and she's like, eh. Finally, she gets over him. She meets some guy. He's a good guy. She's with him for 2 years, 3 years. And of course, he's, doing his thing with her. Now, I don't know, how he's performing or anything like that. But apparently, the old boyfriend and the new boyfriend and the girl are at a party. And the girl who's in this video is telling the story. She says, they're at a party. The boyfriend's hanging out with his buddies. The girl, she goes into the bathroom with her old boyfriend and she bones him. She's got a great guy. Now this guy treated her like dog shit. That's women. That's some women. You gotta expect that. Just like some guys are dicks. They treat their women like total shit and the women don't deserve it. So, you know, all this shit about, oh, they dumped me. What the fuck are you giving them a chance to dump you for? You need to vet that shit out quick and say, that's it, buddy. Honey, you're gone. He needs to be the dumper, not the dumpee. Right? Anyway, let me finish this up here. Because this stream is getting a little bit too long here. Quite by accident, I found a woman who lost her job at a traditional massage parlor in Sriracha. We have lived together for over 2 years now, and she asks for very little of me and appreciates a roof over her head and what little money I give her. She's 46, I'm 72. I had to kiss a lot of frogs before I found a good one. Just my perspective. And that's it right there. You got to kiss a lot of frogs. And, you know, there was a guy who, he came to me for a consultation. This many years ago. I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, something like that. He said to me, I keep going out with the girls and, you know, I get laid, but they're not the kind of girl I want. I go, well, you know, so what are you complaining about? You're going to need to go through a bunch before you find a good one. You're going to need to find one that goes, no, honey, I'm not going home with you. I'm not going to give it up right now. Or maybe they do give it up and they're still a good chick. You're going to need to put the time in. So he was like, yeah, but it's just not working. And I said, listen, if it's that bad and you really don't want to go out with the girls that you're getting laid by, or you're doing them, or whatever you want, however you want to put it, you're the doer. Do it yourself. Refrain. But don't jump into something that is going to be detrimental to your health, to your well-being, to your mindset. There's no need for it. And I would think that guys are getting better here with the women. I would think they've improved over the years simply because they've learned from the internet and from other guys over time. Hey, this is, you know, oh, she's got a sick buffalo. Oh, really? That's a bullshit story? They know this now. You know, how many times is the buffalo really going to be sick where it's the truth and they really desperately need money to help the buffalo? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's time to go. Joe Pesci Malin. I've heard that more than once. See you down low. LOL, Gennaro. Okay, anyway, listen, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you watching. Click the thumbs up, subscribe. Check the description down below. Pick up some merch, blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada, yada. Buy me a coffee. Use the Cash App. Contribute. Well, don't contribute through PayPal. If you really want to, send me a message. Fuck you, Danny DeVito. Use crypto. I heard my wife told me Bitcoin's going up now. Get one of my books. You really want a little, what is it? What'd you call me? Joe Pesci Malin? You want a little Joe Pesci Malin? Read the book, They Call Me Farang. And if you really want to learn about how guys are with these women here, get that book, Ask Me Anything. Where is it? What happened to my books? Oh. There we go. Ask Me Anything. Pick it up. I think it's like 10, 12 bucks, something like that. I don't know. I don't even remember. What happens when lonely, horny, desperate, culturally inexperienced men from all parts of the globe travel to the world's largest adult playground? In a perfect world, the men get laid, the women get paid, and everyone goes home happy. In Thailand, though, where women are willing to provide the girlfriend experience in copious sex for the price of a cheap shirt, maybe not nowadays, but it pays to tread carefully. A man quickly can lose touch with reality. I told you already. I'm not going out there and bugging her. You know the definition now. Sorry. I'll ask her later, and then we'll see what I can do. A man can quickly lose touch with reality, forgetting these pseudo-relationships are business arrangements lasting only as long as there is money or until their women believe her cash cow is milked dry. In late 2012, Scott Malin lost his job working with a boxing promoter in Thailand. To pass the time, he started the YouTube channel An American in Bangkok, a chronicle of his life as an expat in Thailand. Viewers began asking questions, the majority having to do with relationships between Farang, or foreigners, and Thai women, and he responded with his usual straightforward, unadulterated assessment of their situations. Ask Me Anything is composed of letters, emails, and personal messages from over 3 years of correspondence between Malin and his viewers. The stories are real, only the names have been changed to protect the clueless. Ranging from absurd to comical to tragic, the letters illustrate with brutal honesty the length some men will go in their quest to find LOVE. Love. All right? Well, Andy, I'm gonna have to get the graphic done on that. Eventually I will get it done. But I got a million things going on right now. And eventually it'll get done. All right. I gotta get that graphic changed from a American flag to a well, why haven't you, Gennaro? I already told you a long time ago it had to do with being considerate. And that wasn't good enough for you. It has to do with consideration to not impose upon someone. You know, like Granjai might be, hey, I don't really have a place to stay and I've only got 500 baht. I kind of would like to stay at your house, but I don't want to oppose. So they don't even ask you because Granjai, because they don't want to impose upon you, you know, something to that effect. All right? The translations are not exact. But I would suggest, if you want, how is my version different? You tell me what they've said, and I'll tell you if they're full of shit or not. Get some printed and all. Well, all that costs money, Andy. Why am I going to get them printed? I got to get them printed. They get printed on demand. The thing is getting the graphic done, and I just haven't done it. It's a matter of, you know, do I want to fork out $50 or whatever it is to get everything modified and done? Yeah, I can. Sure. Maybe I should do. I didn't know that there was such an interest. I guess I should hurry up and get that done. Maybe I'll do it today. Maybe you have prompted me to get the change made. I'll see if I can. I don't know. I don't even remember where I got this done. I've got to go back and look through my records and figure out who did my logo. I don't even remember. So, well, where's the answer, Gennaro? A Texan in Bangkok. And that's not going to happen. An Asian in Thailand. You're an American, though. I think a lot of the Aussies would actually buy them. So you're right. I should do it. I need to do it. And I promise you, I will jump on it and get it done as quickly as I can. I've just got a lot on my mind right now. A lot of things to do. A lot of things going on. Some personal issues I need to deal with. But yeah, it's a good idea. All right. I don't know. Should it be an Australian in Bangkok or should it be an Aussie in Bangkok? I think Aussie is better. Anyway. All right, guys. Where are we at here for time? 1:20. That means we're at 2 hours and 13 minutes, which is a little bit longer than I want. I got a lot of topics now. I've generated a lot of topics. I've been using a service to help me with ideas. And I got a lot of ideas about not only Thailand, but travel and also specifically Southeast Asia for now. So keep watching. I guess keep watching. Check my website. It will be changed. In the next couple of days, there's going to be some big changes on that website, and I've still got to figure a few things out, but there's going to be a lot of information on there related to Thailand, and then there's some other stuff going on. So eventually, all shall be revealed. All right? Gennaro, have a lovely day. Hi, I'm Gennaro. I'm Gennaro in Bangkok. Where's my t-shirt? I'm going to have Gennaro's happy face right here, and the Thai flag here, and then underneath it, it's going to say, I miss the Grangjai. There we go. All right, guys. I better get out of here. I will talk to you all later. Fred, what's happening? There he is, Mr. Fred, Mr. Ladies Man. It takes a lot of frogs to get to that, to get to the one. He thinks I'm wealthy. Oh, yeah, I super rich. My name, what's your name? My name's Super Rich. I think that's pretty funny. The next time a Thai girl comes up and goes, what's your name? My name's Super. Super what? Super Rich. Oh, you're the G-man in Bangkok. Okay, I got it. Anybody who becomes a $100 member on my Patreon gets a free shirt that has whatever they want. G-man in Bangkok. Freddie in, well, you're in Pattaya. Freddie in Pattaya. Mr. Andy all over. Ugh. This channel's doing my head in. I gotta get out of here. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I will see you when I see you, which who knows when that'll be. Maybe Sunday, maybe not. But thank you very much, and I will talk to you guys later. All right? Ciao, Bella. Jerk and my lock on and all that good stuff. Don't forget the different flags on the t-shirt. Oh, thank you very much, Gennaro. But you're Italian, right? You're an Italian American, so you need an Italian flag. That's not going to sell very well, though. There's not a lot of Italians in here. You know. Well, where's the show me the money? That's all I got to say. Show me the money. Otherwise, no money, no honey. Not funny, Sonny. All right, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Time's a wasting. We got all kinds of things to do. Ugh. Don't get disgusting. Why you gotta be so disgusting? Have a little class. I keep waiting to sign off here, but all these people are coming up with one-liners here. Anyway, it's time to go, all right? Take care, all that good stuff. Be well. Glad to hear Carlos is doing better. He's out of surgery, and he's doing well. And yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back on the horse before he knows it. So, back in Thailand. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, all right? Ciao.